Hello, and welcome to the North Coast Journal Preview. This is a show where we take a look at the current edition of the North Coast Journal. I'm your host, Tanya Schrum, and we are joined by North Coast Journal's managing editor, Jennifer Fumiko Cahill. Welcome.
Hey, Tanya. I'm glad that you are, not broadcasting from a boat.
No, not yet. Not yet. But, I'm on the peninsula, so anything's possible.
I guess you have to worry about sea level, too. It's coming from all sides.
It is. We have a tiny little strip of land here in Manila, and how high is the water, Mama?
Too high. Too damn high.
But we're still festive, and I got my nice festive Jean-Luc ugly sweater shirt, so we're ready to go.
He could never be ugly. He could never be ugly.
No, he's a very, very handsome man.
So, it is that time of year again, Tanya.
It is. The cover story involves our heart and soul as seen through the eyes of our beloved Mark Larson.
Yes, we did it a little bit differently this year. In previous years, we've done our top 10 stories in the issue that goes Christmas week, and Mark Larson's look back in the year in pictures for the first of the year. But then we looked at it and we were like, some of this is grim. Maybe let's have a nice Christmas issue. So everybody who's gathering with their family, Christmas, Hanukkah, that whole week, you can just have a nice little relaxed look back in pictures. I'm not saying it's all roses in this issue, but we have some great stories that feel a little better than maybe last week. So this week we have Mark Larson's look back at 2025. And I know some of us are looking back at 2025 through the fingers covering our faces, but I always honestly feel a little bit better after looking at Mark's photos, because you look back and he's really got an eye for community, and he's got an eye for, even when times are hard, what people are doing to help, what people are doing to fight, and it's really something. I was hoping we could kind of talk about the ones there. Oh, you should go to northcoastjournal.com and see the full slideshow of 10 million photos from Mark. And honestly, if you went to anything, whether it was North Country Fair or a play,
the kinetic
double
race.
Check the kinetic race. You should go check it out, because you might be in there. I've known so many people came up to me and they were like, yeah, I didn't realize I was in the background of this picture, whatever. And listen, you better not be where you're not supposed to be, because you're not trying to get Coldplayed here. But there are some really great things that, reminded me, especially of our cultural events here on the North Coast. And the very first picture, this is somebody who I interviewed, a member of the Papaya Lounge crew. Are you familiar with the Papaya Lounge?
I am not.
Tanya, this is so up your alley. So every year, these ladies, Sarah McKinney, who plays Velvet Q. Jones, and Alyssa Hewlett, and Janessa Johnsrud. Alyssa Hewlett is, Velvet's bestie. But Janessa Johnsrud is another person who came out of Del Arte. And they really put together a wild and woolly and very bawdy show. My favorite part of interviewing them was finding out that one of the characters came from the purchase of a wig that...
I think we can all be inspired by a good wig.
She would, like, the 2016 election had happened. She was depressed and she went online and bought an enormous wig that is, I don't think you could actually get into a car with this wig. It's so huge. And out of that grew her character, out of which grew this show, and chaos ensued. But Mark is a big fan, a big supporter, a big booster of the show. And he took some great photos of it. And this one of her sitting in one of those like wicker Mr. Rourke chairs is gold. Also, a fun thing, we have a lot of glass art up here on the North Coast. Not just bongs, people. Not just pipes. In fact, we have a lot of people who make marbles, really, really beautiful marbles. And Mark is a big fan of the marble celebrations, marble weekend that happens in February of most years. And I'm crossing my fingers that it will survive and work out again this year. But they do all kinds of events. And I guess the weirdness of this event that I like is the way that people hunt for marbles and hide them. And I don't know, it just seems like a very selfless and fun, pure enjoyment of something that is handmade and a little bit wondrous. It's so simple that it's just a ball of glass. But once you start looking at them, it's just a lovely craft that has really blossomed on the North Coast, and Humboldt people go a little crazy for it. And I love that about us, is that we're not that cool. We let ourselves go crazy.
And if you've ever found one when you're out on a dog walk, it's pretty special.
That's true. They don't go back and take them back once
No.
the festival is over.
My dog found one for me once, which I thought was really neat. Yeah.
Tell me if he finds any truffles. I'm in.
I know, right? That would be very useful.
Mark took pictures at the Magic in the Redwoods event. He took pictures of, who is that fellow? Is that Thad Greenson getting an award for, I just love that it's the Ray of Sunshine Award.
I think there's no better award for Thad to win. Anybody that knows him.
Last night, I texted him a photo of the page before it went to press, and he said, "What is that?" And I was like, "This is going to press. This is in Mark Larson's photos from 2025. And he was like, "No, what are you doing?" He was like, "You're drunk with power." So anyway, we're very proud of him. But it is also a moment to feel like Access Humboldt, which we're on right now, does a lot for this community. And the Sunshine Week event, boosting local media and government transparency and citizen participation, was really great. And we wanted to make sure and include that. We've got some Del Arte plays. We've got some plays from Michael Fields at the Logger. You may recall that he was formerly at Del Arte and now does Long Shader Productions. And Logger Legends, Liars, and Lookers is like a cult thing now. It is a play that takes place in the tiny Lager bar. And you think to yourself, how can you watch a play without the actors being on top of you? Friend, you can't. They are kind of on top of you. And it's great. They've done an encore performance of it, and it really is one of those things that is an only in Humboldt event.
And definitely a Blue Lake event. If you've ever been to the Logger for a live show, you know that everybody just gets cozy.
Right? So you have this historic bar that was literally patronized by people who chopped down trees in the woods in suspenders. And now they do theater productions in it, which is the most Blue Lake / Humboldt thing ever. Speaking of our storied history, there are some photos in the slideshow and in this week's print edition from the Forest Moon Festival. God, I love that we're a magnet for cosplayers.
And Mark really captured some amazing pics.
Yeah, I will never get tired of, somebody dressing their baby up like R2-D2. I'll never get tired of that. And likewise, I'll never get tired of people who are dressed for Endor, rolling around on the skywalk, and it's fantastic. So stay strong, nerds. We've got more historic celebrations, including the Chinatown Festival, Street Festival, when the historic Eureka Chinatown is celebrated along with sort of Lunar New Year. It's not quite on top of Lunar New Year, but it is to celebrate the new year and to celebrate the history of Eureka's Chinatown, which is pretty cool. The Eureka Chinatown project is up to more stuff this year. We'll be following that. The construction of the monument over in the parking lot in Old Town is something that's underway, and I'm looking forward to learning more about. Mark also has a ton of photos from the Legion protests that we had this year. We had a lot of protests.
Yeah, that was a lot of activity on Saturdays this year. And I imagine it'll continue into next.
I think for a lot of people, this was their only opportunity to really get a tan, was out on the weekends. But it was, I mean,
Sunscreen and hats, people.
right? People came out, people showed up, and they brought elaborate signs, costumes, and yet it was also serious. And every time another event showed up, they ranged from somewhere between 200 people coming to 3,000 plus. It was really something to watch that develop over the year, and Mark has a lot of photos from that. Also, a big deal was Kinetic kind of took over the fair this year in lieu of horse racing. He's got some great photos of, what is this? I'm going to stumble over the name of this, so I'm going to read it. The Rutabaga Royalty Hobby Kinetic Creature Race, which was people on hobby horses, the stick horse, hopping along the track.
Amazing. I'd rather see that than horse racing any day.
I know that you would. Also, I just want you to know that this is probably more practical than my original hoped for event, which was people in the two-person horse costume, which I now see would have probably led to injury for a number of people. He's got photos of Fortuna Rodeo, which are great. I will never be able to capture anything like he does. He does beautiful high-speed stuff and really captures this joyful pictures of people. The one in the paper is of one of these trick riders, the Riata Ranch Cowboy Girls, just like riding upside down, as you do. Mark went to, of course, the mushroom fair. That man loves a mushroom.
And I was really surprised that people dress up for the mushroom fair.
Oh, are you not going to wear your mushroom hat?
Now I know. Now I know.
Right? I think later we're going to talk about what mushroom costume we're going to make for this year. I have to say that the one that's in the photo in the paper, I don't know, man. It's the Clathrus ruber mushroom. And it's this, let's be real, it's gross. It's like a weird cage of porous, upsetting, I can't handle it. Am I one of those people who has that thing where you can't look at holes?
Oh, yeah. I always
What is that condition called?
That phobia. I should know it. I know a few people that suffer from it.
Yeah, all I can say is if that's your problem, just like go by page 11 really fast.
Yeah. No triggers.
I know. And anyway, he's got great pictures of things like the opening of the Humboldt Bay Trail south. He's got some wonderful just like documentation of the North Country Fair and everything that happened over the year where people came together. Mark Larson was probably there and shooting pictures. And it's just a really nice, to me, way to sit down, as I mentioned in the introduction, like get a beverage and sit down and just scroll through it and feel good. It is one of those opportunities you have to just look back and enjoy really the best of us over 2025.
Our producer filled us in. It's trypophobia.
Trypophobia.
So
it's not great.
Don't be triggered. Scroll on by. I don't know if waffles will count, but that would be very sad if my waffles made me fearful.
Listen, everything in the natural world, everything in the forest has a real potential to scare the hell out of me. So,
Well, we have so many wonderful photos that Mark has shared, and we give him thanks for being out there and capturing all of these memories from the community all year. Before we move on, Jennifer, would you like to add anything?
yes, I would. And that is that right now, I'm going to guess that he's out taking pictures of flooded areas. Be careful, Mark. And I just want to give a shout out to Colin Yo this week. He wrote the set list this week from a flooded home, or at least from on the other side of a flooded road where he could not get to his normal stuff. And he just kind of DIY'd it. And I don't know if he was working on his phone or what, but he made it happen. And cheers.
Thank you, Colin. And well, Jennifer's still on dry land, and you brought us a story that so hits home for me that my sister and I clash all the time over her love of the Hallmark romance Christmas films.
Okay. So
Not
I
so much
actually
for me.
I actually know somebody, and I won't out them right now because I don't know if it's a secret, but I know somebody whose dad is deeply invested in Hallmark movies,
Oh, I love that.
rom-coms in general, but especially Hallmark movies and like Christmas movies. But my thing is I can't believe how big the Hallmark romantic movie thing is. It's so giant. And what does it go from like October? Like I'm trying to do spooky season
I
over
mean,
here,
they kind of do them year round.
right? And they'll be like Christmas in July, and
It
I'm like,
is.
why?
It is.
Listen, to each her own, and whatever stuff's your stocking, sweetie.
Now,
But
one holiday I did watch the Thomas Kincaid movie with my sister only because Jared Padalecki was in it.
listen, we all have our price. But I was thinking about how this recent trend, I'm always amazed and paying attention to what is marketed to women and what is marketed to men and what women snap up and what they reject, sort of generally. Not that we're a monolith, honey. But recently, the discussion of romantasy books, which are you familiar with the romantasy genre?
I am. Yeah.
Okay.
They kind of formed from fan fiction, I imagine.
Yeah, I think that was definitely a driver, right? So the romantasy genre, if you're not familiar, or if you would like to pretend that you are not familiar, is basically like imagine Lord of the Rings, whatever kind of fantasy drama, novels, fiction, but with a real focus on romance and frequently, as they say in the industry, spicy. Some of it's, as like in any genre, it varies in terms of quality and content, but it's sort of infamous for being very spicy and over the top and sometimes crazy. So I imagined sort of a pitch meeting for Hallmark to try and get into the romantasy genre by trying to blend the two things. And like, for example, how do you bring romantasy girlies back to Christmas? Well, I don't know, like we already have a workshop full of elves. They're not the same kind of elves, but maybe. And so I imagined a Hallmark executive, probably not a woman, possibly a woman, but probably not a woman, and definitely not somebody who is interested in listening to women or being in touch with women. Coming into, at one point, the speaker says that, Cheryl Ann has been whining for months that we're losing market share to these romantasy books like A Court of Thorns and Roses. But yesterday, Ken said the same thing in a much lower voice, and it made sense. So,
Because of course.
Ken's got that bass. So there are lots of pitches for new movies like A Workshop of Toys and Candy, in which a woman is rescued by a hot elf and forced to live in the workshop full of political intrigue. I am basically cribbing plots from romantasy books and kind of forcing candy canes and jingle bells into them.
Well, I love a short king.
I know you do. It's weird. All the elves once elves are doing something fun, they're tiny. But then when the elves are in a romance novel, they're very tall. And I'm like, where are the mid-level elves? Where are the... I believe that in The Hobbit, let's not forget Richard Armitage made a very hot dwarf in The Hobbit. Good for you, Richard Armitage. A Touch of Jolliness is a dark romance featuring a hero named Nicholas who pulls a woman into his dark red velvet embrace to become Mrs. Claus. Maybe. We'll see. And
for all it goes dad bod fans out there.
Listen, it's out there.
It is.
And at some point, I don't know if you've noticed that the romantasy genre sometimes goes way off road into monster categories.
Indeed.
And bless the imaginations of these authors. Have I seen a novel in my library app that included a woman who falls in love with the Loch Ness Monster? Maybe. So it doesn't seem like Krampus is a far leap, right?
Not at all.
What about that weird Welsh skull horse creature? What about... There's just all kinds of possibilities.
Don't worry, honey. You can change him.
I can fix him. Sure, he threw me in a sack and he's bringing me to hell for my misdeeds at Christmas, but I can fix him. We all have flaws, Tanya.
Indeed.
I'm trying to make something work here. Anyway, it is very much, it's always interesting to me to see how our monsters, what we consider monsters, what we consider heroes, what we consider a fairy tale and an ideal romance, those things all really tell us a lot about our culture now and who we are and what's important to us, what we're afraid of, and sometimes what we are dissatisfied with. And so I'm sort of playing around with that, but it's always going to fascinate me. I love looking at, as we've talked about before, like Victorian monsters and how we look at the world and decide what's scary, what's appealing. It always changes, and I never get tired of it.
Well, thank you, Jennifer. You have done it again, and I encourage everybody to pick up the North Coast Journal and read the entire seriously for themselves. And that wraps up our festive edition this week. Happy holidays to everybody. Go pick up the current edition of the North Coast Journal. Make it part of your festivities. It'll be available on newsstands Thursday.
Christmas Day.
It's totally ready. And of course, you can always find it online at northcoastjournal.com. I am Tanya Schrum. Thanks for being with us and staying festive and informed here on the North Coast.